Hello, I'm Kirsten Wilcock, WJEC English Subject Officer, and through this short video I will introduce the WJEC Additional English Qualification. This is a qualification aimed at learners who may struggle to follow mainstream Key Stage 4 pathways, such as GCSE. As such, Additional English has been designed to be flexible in meeting the needs of a wide range of learners working at Entry 2, Entry 3 and Level 1. Additional English sits in the Qualifications and Credits framework. Qualifications here are defined in terms of, firstly, the level, the scale of difficulty or challenge, and this is graded at entry levels 1, 2, 3 and Level 1, or the credit, the volume of work required, and this is the size of the qualification. As a guide, 1 credit is roughly equivalent to 10 hours learning time for the average learner. WJEC Entry Pathway units are available at 4 levels: Entry 1, 2, 3 and Level 1. It is worth highlighting that Additional English is not available as a qualification at Entry 1 or Level 1. This refers to the level or demand of the qualification. There are also 3 sizes of qualification available through the Entry Pathways system: Award, which consists of 8 or more credits, Certificate, which consists of 13 or more credits, and Diploma, which consists of 37 or more credits. Additional English as a qualification is available in 2 sizes: the smaller qualification, the Award, or the medium-sized qualification, the Certificate. There are 6 English units that can be used to make up an Additional English qualification: Exploring Shakespeare, Communicating Experiences, Creating Narratives, Exploring Characters in Audiovisual Texts, Exploring Narratives, and Exploring Poetry. This video deals with the first 6 of these units. There are 3 media units that could also be used in creating an Additional English qualification: Exploring Film Genres, Exploring Advertising, and Creating a Print Media Product. Information on these 3 units that may be included can be found via our WJEC Media Studies colleagues. There is no Level 1 award of an Additional English qualification available, but learners may be entered for one of 3 Level 1 Additional English units. Whilst the overall qualification can be awarded only at Entry 2 or Entry 3, achievement in each unit entered is listed on the candidate's certificate. To support centres in evidencing the required assessment criteria, you will find an amplification document for each of the units on the WJEC website. These give practical advice on the kinds of evidence that would be acceptable for submission. In addition, further guidance is provided in the Units and Guidance booklet that may be helpful for centres in planning their delivery of the units within the wider English curriculum. WJEC have also produced a range of teaching and learning resources for centre use, or to act as a model for centres' own development of resources suited to their learners' needs. All Entry Pathway units are internally assessed and externally moderated. All assessment criteria must be met for the learning outcomes of each unit to be achieved. For units provided at Entry 2, Entry 3 and Level 1, criteria must be met in full at each level. Credit is awarded for the unit as a whole, and no partial credit can be given. For example, for a candidate who provides evidence for 2 out of 4 of the assessment criteria. Evidence of meeting assessment criteria may cover the criteria for more than 1 unit, but each unit must be assessed independently against its own assessment criteria. So if the same evidence is being used in 2 different units to demonstrate successful completion of different assessment criteria, Centres must ensure that the evidence is checked against both requirements. Tasks may be chosen from examples given by WJEC, or may be set by the centre. Criteria-led tasks are advised. Here you can see the kinds of classroom activities that could lead to generating appropriate evidence. In itself, this Entry 2 activity would not be sufficient to demonstrate the assessment criteria of outline how characters in text behave. The activity, however, has been further developed, and in this response the candidate is able to outline how the character of Matilda behaves, albeit in a brief way, but fitting to Entry 2. Similarly, here is an example of an initial activity for an Entry 3 learner. To support centres in making entries at the appropriate level, there is a range of exemplar material available on the WJEC website. The 51% rule determines the level that can be awarded for the overall qualification when combining units at different levels. In order to get a certificate, a candidate needs 13 or more credits. In order for that certificate to be awarded at Entry 3, 51% of the units must be at Entry 3. This means that 49% may be at Entry 2. For example, if a learner is entered for Entry 2 in creating narratives, 3 credits, communicating experiences, 2 credits, and then is entered for Entry 3 for exploring Shakespeare, 3 credits, exploring narratives, 3 credits, and exploring poetry, 2 credits, that would make 5 credits awarded for Entry 2 and 8 credits awarded at Entry 3. Therefore, certification would be at Entry 3, as this is where 51% or more of the credits have been awarded. The centres will then cash in order to get their award or their certificate. Centres cannot cash in their Level 1 qualifications at present, however candidates will receive an individual certificate for each unit achieved at Level 1. Centres use WJEC's internal assessment mark input system to enter whether the candidates have passed or failed the units entered. YAMIS can be accessed through the WJEC Secure website. Centres examinations officers will have login details. Once the required details have been submitted, the system will automatically choose the sample for centres to send. Centres should ensure that the folders sent match the sample chosen by YAMIS. The dates for submitting the sample of evidence are the 12th of December for the January series and the 4th of May for the June series. There are 2 entry opportunities for additional English. For the January series, the entry deadline is the 1st of October. And for the June series, the entry deadline is the 21st of February. Centres are reminded that an authentication sheet must be included for each unit entered, signed by both the learner and the teacher. Each unit should have the latest assessment record attached. These can be found on the WJEC website. This should show evidence of internal verification and clearly show where in the folder each of the assessment criteria has been met. If assessment criteria have been met orally, then detailed witness statements must be supplied. Each witness statement should be specific to the individual learner and their contributions. Generic or mass photocopied statements will not be accepted. Witness statement forms are also available from the WJEC website. Please do not send workbooks, loose sheets, or evidence which is not specific to the assessment criteria. Folders which are not clearly organised will be returned to centres. For Units 6353 and 6354, a minimum of 2 texts must be studied and all assessment criteria must be met for each text. This is an example of an effective assessment record where the centre has clearly identified where the moderator will find evidence of the relevant assessment criteria. It aids the moderation process if individual sections of a candidate's work can also be highlighted to clarify where evidence can be found. Here is an example of a witness statement to be used if oral evidence rather than written evidence is to be submitted. Here, the assessor has gone into detail, cataloguing precisely what the candidate has said, which has demonstrated the assessment criteria. On the WJEC website, you will find a number of different resources for teachers to support the delivery of the additional English qualification. Should you require further information emailed to you regarding our additional English qualification or any of our other WJEC EduCast qualifications, please subscribe to our email list. Details are found on any of our English web pages. Should you have any further queries regarding additional English or our Pathways qualifications, please contact the relevant WJEC personnel.